So this is my Dometic CT thermostat from my RV. It is about 6 years old. And when I touched the face cover, it was acting pretty erratic and not as reactive as it should have been. And I do have two of them. So I took one out, brought it home, hooked it up to a battery, and studied the problem for a while. Capacitive touch transfers the electrical static from your finger through to the board, but it wasn't getting through there. So after a little thinking, I thought I have 3 capacitive touch pins that have rubber tips. So I just turned and unscrewed the rubber tips, pulled them off, and I put one on each one of the terminals on the board where it's supposed to make contact with the cover plate. And I found that really made it work. It made it work pretty darn good. But then I thought, well, the problem is probably the foam itself. So the foam is special conductive, capacitor conductive foam, and it has extra carbon fiber particles woven into it when it's made. Hard to find. Certainly not at a reasonable price either. So the next best thing for conducting electricity I thought about was graphite lubricant. Very good at conducting electricity. So I took the foam out, and I could see that it was all deformed. So I swapped it around and put it in another direction. I thought that's not really going to fix the carbon fiber problem in the foam. So before I put it back in, I took a little bit of this graphite, just a little bit, just like you would for a lock, just a little bit, and I sprinkled it in there. And then I stuck the foam back in. And I swished around a little bit. Puff it up. Make sure those carbon fibers from the graphite, get all around it. And then I simply put the lid back on. Don't put too much graphite lubricant on there, because it will be messy when you turn the cover over. So make sure it's clean and use a paper towel. And when I slip this back on and I hook the battery up, it seems to be working pretty well. I do have an error 1 message because my third wire is not hooked up to the AC control board. But that doesn't affect capacitive touch from working. Put it on automatic, then you can go from these up, down, whether you're doing thermostat or fan speed, and it's working really well again. I think this is a really inexpensive fix. I spent about $8 on the capacitive touch pins from Amazon and $2.50 for the graphite lubricant at Ace Hardware. Pretty simple task, and I'd say there's no need to even take it off the wall. Do it right in the RV. Anyway, have a good evening.